Hey, it's great to see you. I'm Reverend Jim Harden. I've been a pro-life strategist for years. I'm a medical ethicist, and I have a Newsmax column called Reverend Harden's Hard Truths. I also run a network of pro-life medical offices throughout the state of New York and New York City, which is the abortion capital of the globe. Great to have you with me today. Karine Jean-Pierre, speaking on behalf of the Biden administration regarding the death of 3 soldiers and the injuring of 40 after a drone strike in the Middle East, could not bring herself to call the soldiers soldiers. She could not bring herself to call these people men or women. And what came out was that they were fighting on behalf of the Biden administration. And, people say, well, you got military people all up in arms about that statement because, of course, the military does not fight, for an administration. They fight for the United States. They are oath-bound, duty-bound to the Constitution, defending the United States and the Constitution from all enemies, foreign and domestic. They're not called to defend the Biden administration or to work on behalf of the Biden administration. The problem is here that I think Karine, whatever you call her, was telling the truth in that moment. I think under moments of stress and pressure, glimpses of the truth actually come out from behind the masks. And I think when she said working on behalf of the Biden administration, she probably meant that. What I mean to say is the Biden administration has a long and sordid history of using the DOJ and the FBI and the Department of Health and Human Services and Homeland Security and all the rest to accomplish their political agenda. And it would be consistent for the Biden administration to use the military to accomplish their political agenda as well. So you see that happening domestically when you get over 300 attacks on pro-life people from actual domestic terrorists, pro-abortion domestic terrorists connected to Antifa, and the DOJ and the FBI not only turn a blind eye to those crimes, but they begin to use their arresting and indicting power against the people that are being victimized, pro-lifers, because they're politically disfavored, because they don't happen to hold the Biden administration's position when it comes to abortion on demand through all 9 months of pregnancy. And, of course, Biden's re-election campaign started on January 22nd, which is the 51st anniversary of Roe versus Wade, that legalized abortion throughout all 9 months of pregnancy. And they promise to use abortion as their kind of keystone for the re-election bid. And Kamala Harris is going to be the abortion czar, and she's going to be the one talking about abortion throughout the country because, of course, Joe Biden can't make it out of Virginia without taking a nap. So that means Kamala Harris is going to be the face of the Biden administration. So here we are. I think you've got Karine Jean-Pierre telling the truth about how the Biden administration is manipulating and abusing the military, just as he manipulates and abuses the DOJ, the FBI, the DHS. You name it. So I'm kind of happy to see Karine, under a little pressure, so that we can actually see what's behind the curtain, so to speak, politically. And that's a perfect segue into what happened with these peaceful pro-life protesters in Tennessee, indicted by the DOJ for conspiracy against rights. God knoweth how. These people are peaceful, family-loving individuals. The police even, didn't have any problems with them. Yet the Biden administration is, after Roe versus Wade, decided that they wanted to create a rash of arrests against pro-life people to make it look like the pro-life people are somehow violent aggressors. Paul Vaughn, for example, is one of the people that were indicted and now convicted, apparently, for conspiracy against rights. and violations of the FACE Act, Freedom of Access to Clinic Entrances Act. The FBI did a raid on his house, put his wife and 11 children under the gun. This is similar to what happened with Mark Houck in Pennsylvania. I don't know why the FBI is doing SWAT raids on peaceful people who have no intention of hiding. They do we pro-life people do their work, their prayer and their singing, and communicate what they believe to the entire world, because we believe all people are made in the image of God and therefore equally valued, need to be protected under the law equally, including preborn boys and girls and their mothers. And they gotta go arrest. They have to do a SWAT raid on their house. Well, it doesn't make any sense unless you want to vilify the pro-life community somehow. You want to make it look to the public like these people are dangerous, gang leaders of some kind. Well, why aren't they? Where's the Dawn SWAT raids on the pro-abortion kind of Antifa people who are literally issuing death threats and firebombing facilities? Where's the Dawn SWAT raids? Where's the international manhunt? I'd like to know. This is exactly what I'm talking about with the Biden administration abusing and mishandling the Department of Justice. Picking and choosing laws to enforce like a legal buffet to accomplish their own political agenda. So they're treating pro-lifers like second-class citizens, and here you've got this U.S. District Court finding these at least 6 pro-life people guilty of conspiracy against rights. Now, let's just talk about conspiracy against rights. What conspiracy and what right? Well, what were they conspiring to do? They were working together. Apparently, that's a conspiracy when you're working with other people. I mean, if you're, God forbid, you band together, you freely associate to protest injustice. God forbid. But apparently that's somehow constitutional. I read that somewhere in the Constitution about freedom of association and freedom of religion and things like that. These are Christian people who happen to believe that preborn boys and girls are fully and equally human. Okay? And because of that belief, they're trying to spare the doctors from performing the crime. They're trying to spare the women from being re-victimized by this crime. They're trying to spare the babies from being killed. They're trying to spare our country by witnessing to the fact that this country needs to protect all people equally under the 14th Amendment. So we've got a serious situation where I think that we've got people going to jail now. Several people in jail with the U.S. District Court out of D.C. for the same reasons. The next president of the United States, whoever that is, whether it's Trump or whoever, one of the first things they need to do, besides firing Attorney General Merrick Garland and his underling, FBI Director Christopher Wray, the first thing he needs to do is pardon every single peaceful pro-lifer who's been unconstitutionally indicted and convicted for conspiracy against rights. There is no conspiracy against rights. What the Dobbs case overturning Roe, June 24th, 2022, basically said you cannot construe a right to abortion in the Constitution. You can't do it. So what in the world are these people being indicted for and convicted in federal court? It's a kangaroo court. We are totally undermining the integrity of the judicial system in America with these convictions. So I think these pro-lifers need to wear this conviction as a badge of honor. This is the next step in persecuting Christian pro-lifers. And Jesus said it was going to happen. They're going to offer you up to the kings and to the courts, and you're going to be delivered up, and they're going to put you in jail, and they're going to flog you and do all kinds of. They're going to say all kinds of evil against you falsely on account of me. Well, that's what's happening. I'm proud of these particular pro-lifers. The culture sings a little dirge and expects Christians to cry. Well, the dirge is, poor. These poor women don't have reproductive rights, because Roe's been overturned. Well, they do actually. And what about the children? The culture sings a little dance, and they expect Christians to go along with them and say, hey, so let's celebrate. making abortion a fundamental human right in the Ohio Constitution. Well, forgive us for not dancing with you. It is totally undermining the rule of law. It's using the legal system to undermine a constitutional rule of law. Either all people are equally valuable without qualification, or equality is just a word the political elite use to manipulate the emotions of the masses to gain more power. And so, the next president of the United States needs to investigate the DOJ, the FBI. I think that the House of Representatives has good footing to withhold funding from the FBI and from those at the Department of Homeland Security until a thorough investigation can be done into just how far the corruption goes. How far does the rabbit hole of corruption go in federal law enforcement? And furthermore, I think we need to take a good hard look at the constitutionality of federal law enforcement domestically. It's in many respects, federal law enforcement is violating the 10th Amendment. All you got to do is look no further than the FBI, a federal agency, doing a dawn SWAT raid on a peaceful pro-life citizen in Tennessee. And by the way, where are the Tennessee sheriffs? Where are the Pennsylvania sheriffs? You have a constitutional obligation as sheriffs to make sure your people are not abused by other people in power, like, for example, the federal government trampling on the rights of the states to enforce their own laws. I think we need to have sheriffs stepping up and saying, hey, you can't come here and arrest our citizens without due process of law. I mean, there's I love the press releases that come out with the DOJ and the FBI whenever they indict somebody. Like, oh, we're partnering with local police, and we're really happy to see how our partnership is working out. And they can call us whenever they want. Well, I can tell you that the FBI doesn't partner with anybody. You give the FBI information, they're not going to give you a single piece of information. They are incommunicado. They do what they want to do. They put their thumb on the investigation of the firebombing that was going on in Buffalo with one of our centers, and that was it. They let all the leads go cold, and they were really embarrassed and upset when I kept pushing on them, saying, "Hey, quit putting your thumb on the police. We're trying to do an investigation." I got calls. I actually got calls from the FBI. They invited me into their office graciously. So we've got a serious problem within the FBI and the Department of Justice, and it goes way beyond the leadership. And I believe it's seeped down into the rank and file now. So there are things we can do, but it's going to take a concerted effort to constrict the 250,000 domestic federal law enforcement officers walking around with long guns, pointing them at citizens, peaceful pro-life citizens. It's going to take some doing, but we've got some strong people, some people who believe in God and the fact that we're made in His image, and are unwilling to bow the knee to a society and a government that insists on having everyone bear false witness against what it means to be human under God. And we won't do it. We're the ones that are standing up saying all people need to be protected. All people need to be protected under the law, and everybody needs to be held accountable under the law. So let's see what happens. But my heart goes out, and my prayers also to the 6 pro-lifers indicted and convicted in Tennessee just 2 days ago. I also heard recently of Michael Cassidy, the Christian Navy vet and reservist, who went into I believe it was Iowa state capitol building and decapitated a satanic statue. When I first heard about it, my mind immediately went to there's two examples in Scripture. Excuse me. There's 2 examples in Scripture where satanic gods are decapitated. or knocked down. Okay, the first one was when the Israelites were fighting against the Philistines, and God didn't want them to, and so they got defeated, and the Philistines took the Ark of the Covenant. Do you remember this? They took the Ark of the Covenant and they put it in their temple of Dagon, right? And there's the statue of Dagon. And every time the Philistines would go into the temple in the morning, the statue of Dagon would be falling down on his face. and then they came in, they kept putting him back up again, and getting the next morning, and he'd be down on his face and put him back up again. Well, finally, I believe the story goes, the statue was decapitated. Done. And of course, then the Philistines started getting all these terrible plagues and pestilence and all this sort of thing. And they realized, it was the ark. We need to give this thing back. We need to give it back to the Israelites. Get this thing out of here. So they put it on a cart, attached some ox to it or whatever like that, and they just sent it off. Get this thing out of here. And the ox walked the ark right back to the Israelites. So the other story was Gideon. This brave Christian naval vet went into the state building and he looked at this satanic statue and said to himself, "This is ridiculous. This basically undermines everything that America stands for, and it's right here in the state capitol rotunda." And Gideon in the Bible, the satanic worship had seeped into the culture in Israel, and God revealed himself to Gideon, and he said, "I want you to clean house." So he did. He went in and to the place where all the people gathered to worship, this satanic god, and he cut down this statue, this Asherah pole or whatever it was. And everybody was so angry. Everybody's like, "Oh," and they were out for blood too. I mean, they were not happy. And so now this poor Christian vet is being indicted for a hate crime against the Satanic Church or some such thing like that, or maybe it's the Temple of Satan. I don't know which. Apparently they're different. But a hate crime against the father of hate. I mean, that's Satan. A hate crime against the father of hate. Oh, and by the way, lest we all forget, the Temple of Satan filed a lawsuit against the states of Idaho and I believe Indiana for their abortion restrictions as a violation of their religious liberty, because they say abortion is a religious right, R-I-T-E, a religious right. Okay, of course, there are many state agencies, there are many federal agencies and politicians that would probably agree with the Satanic Temple that abortion is a religious right, although they wouldn't directly come out and say they're Satanists. But you've got Kamala Harris, the abortion czar, now going out there basically saying, you can be a Christian and pro-abortion. You don't have to set aside your Christian beliefs to be pro-abortion, which of course is absolutely ridiculous. She knows about as much Christian theology as, I don't know, the followers of Dagon or the Satanic Temple. So she would be more in line with the Satanic Temple practices and beliefs than everybody else. So anyway, I think we're seeing the Satanic Temple popping up and the Church of Satan popping up because the flashpoint in America happens to be abortion, and it's not about abortion. It's about what abortion gives people that are attempting to undermine the nation-state system, of which America is the bulwark. America falls, so does the rest of the nation-state system, which was established by the Westphalian Treaty in 1648, I believe. So if you can, in order to destroy the nation-state system or the bulwark that is America, you have to undermine the Judeo-Christian roots as well as the free market system. And that's one of the reasons why you've got pro-abortion kind of extremists out there saying that pro-lifers are enslavers. We're forcing women to have their babies and forcing them to become permanent socioeconomic underclasses. This is classic Marxist language, by the way. And that's what they're after. They're after the destruction of the nation-state system to pave the way for a global communism. This is what Antifa says. You can read about it. You can just look up Antifa and look up their Antifa ideology. They're anarchists per se. By anarchists, I mean communists. They are against the rule of law and for the rule of man, for the rule of a few, specifically themselves. Very, very dangerous moment in the history of America, and abortion happens to be pointing to the larger problems. Abortion is a symptom. Abortion needs to stop, but it's a symptom of a sickness of society, a society that no longer understands what its purpose is. So, also, today is February 1st. Today is February 1st. It is the beginning of Black History Month. And one of the things that I think needs to be pointed out more often is that there's only one race of man. Okay, great. It's Black History Month. There are different people groups, different languages, different cultures, different nations. But there's one race of man. We are all sons of Adam or daughters of Eve. There is to say that there are multiple races is a Darwinian evolutionary theory concept. And so if that's true, if there are multiple races, and that means that we're all developing at different rates or at different speeds, right? And some races are better than others at certain things. And so this concept of equality makes no sense. I mean, Darwinian evolutionary theory would say, hey, well then let the strong survive and the weak just die. What's the whole point of having, conversations around equality when the idea of race basically defines the fact that there can be no equality. But the fact here is we are all of one race. Every human being is derived from the same parent, Adam and Eve, same parents. So, let's just take a step back, though, and talk about Black History Month. The most racist industry on the planet is the abortion industry, multi-billion-dollar international complex. And the biggest abortion business in the world is Planned Parenthood. We have close friends that, and I know I can't really blame them, but they didn't know that abortion was perpetrated by Planned Parenthood. They thought Planned Parenthood was just an organization that counseled women and happened to refer for abortion. Planned Parenthood is a major offender. Okay, they provide 40% of all abortions in America. 40%. Now, speaking of 40%, the Black community in America represents about 14% of the entire population. 14% of the entire population of America are Black people. If you look at how many abortions are perpetrated against the Black community, you'll find that nearly 40%, 40, are perpetrated against the Black community. The Black community bears the brunt of abortions in America today. If all the babies that had ever been aborted in the Black community were still alive today, since 1973, the Black community would represent 30% of the entire population of America. 30%. What that means is you got to ask yourself, why is Planned Parenthood locating the vast majority of their abortion clinics in minority neighborhoods where Black people live? It's because they're doing it on purpose. You can look at the history of Planned Parenthood, look at the founder of Planned Parenthood, Margaret Sanger. Margaret Sanger, in the 1920s and 30s, palled around with a guy named Hitler. I'm not kidding. They took eugenics to its logical conclusion. They believed that they believed in Darwinian evolutionary theory, and that you could, as humans, we could speed up the evolutionary process by eliminating what they called the human weeds, what Margaret Sanger referred to as human weeds. And when she referred to human weeds, what she meant were the mentally unfit, whatever that means, and minorities like Black people, including those that are poor. If that now it makes perfect sense, doesn't it? That they would locate all their clinics in minority neighborhoods. specifically targeting black people. I mean, if the black community doesn't wake up, they're gonna wake up one day, 10, 20, 30 years hence, and realize they are no longer a voting bloc. Good luck getting a mayor reelected in Rochester, where I'm sitting right now. There is an extinction horizon for the black people group because of the abortion industry. And it's being sold to them, sold to everybody, but particularly black people, as a freedom, as some sort of freedom. Well, okay, it's you're free to allow us to destroy you. And you're free to believe the lie that we're helping you. Well, it's absolutely mind-boggling to think about the destruction that has been, perpetrated against the black community all these long years, 50 plus years. If you go to the Bronx, for every 100 black babies born, 100 are aborted. Compare that to the white community. For every 100 white babies born, 14 are aborted. What's the deal with the 14 in the 40s? We just need to take a step back and take a look at who's actually promoting abortion and who are you voting for? Because the people that are promoting abortion, protecting abortionists, paying for abortion using tax dollars, these are all pro-abortion politicians. And most of them are white. I mean, I'm just saying, you want to look for the racists, you need to look no further than your ballot box. Take a look at all those people. And there are people in the black community that are selling out their own for power and money. I think about Letitia James, Attorney General of New York State. She's a sellout. She is undermined. She is allowing the destruction of her people group for power and money. It's shameful. And America needs to wake up to this reality. I'm Reverend Harden. These are hard truths. You can follow me on Facebook and other social media, as well as on my Newsmax column at Reverend Harden's Hard Truths.